what it is. All right. So for my friends who are watching this at home, please take your practice tests before watching this video, as it won't really help you if you haven't taken it. So I'll read the question. I'll read the answer. Remember, we're not going to play the I put this, is this right game. There's lots of right answers. If you have a conceptual question, if you don't understand how to do one of these problems, please stop me and ask me. So number one said, what is logic? We all know this. This would be the science and art of reasoning well. Number two said, state the law of excluded middle. Any statement is either true or false. Remember, just as a friendly reminder, I told you guys last week that if I were you, I would make sure that when I came in for this test tomorrow, I knew like the back of my hand the laws of thought, the purposes and types of definition, and the rules for defining by genus and difference. I would know those backwards, forwards, up, down, all around, know those things. So any statements either true or false. Number three, don't worry about this question. It is not going to be on the test, but think of it like this. Informal logic deals with terms and statements and definitions, and those are the tools with which we do formal logic. So informal logic are tools, terms, definitions, statements. Formal logic is logic itself, okay? So again, don't worry, that one's not on the test, and that's really so abstract you don't actually have to worry about it in life, but that was what the answer to that question was. Number four, a definition that reduces the vagueness of a term in a given situation. That is a precising definition. Number five, a definition that removes ambiguity by giving an established meaning of a term. That is a lexical definition. Number six, a definition that is meant to influence one's attitude about the term. That is a persuasive definition. And number seven, a definition which supplies the meaning of a new term. That is a stipulative definition. Now, I would tell you, a great thing for you to do on stuff like this is to each section, if they give you like a reducing set of options, do the ones you absolutely know for sure first, and then you can come back and process of elimination and probably figure out which one the one you couldn't figure out is. Bean?
It says bike.
Not really, but okay. Number eight, it says arrange these terms in order of decreasing extension. So remember, extension is vagueness. Extension is abstraction. Extension, so think of it like this. If I said a student at Westminster, well, I've eliminated all other students who don't go to Westminster, but there's 660 of you guys. If I said a student at the upper school of Westminster, there's like 350 of you guys. If I said a middle school student at Westminster, there's 97 of you. If I said a 7th grade student at Westminster, there's 49 of you. If I said a 7th grade student at Westminster in my 4th period logic class, there's 15 of you. If I said a male 7th grade student at Westminster in my 4th period logic class, there are 10 of you. So if I said a 7th grade student at Westminster in my 4th period logic class whose last name is Oliver, there's one, right? So that is increasing intention. I started at the most vague, abstract level. This said, arrange these terms in order of decreasing extension. So you should have started with the broadest, most vague, most abstract, and gotten more specific, and it would look like this. Subject, math, algebra, okay? Number 9, it says arrange these terms in order of increasing intention. So that means starting with the least specific and getting more specific. And so that would look like this. Vehicle, automobile, dragster. Can anybody tell me what is the little secret clue? What do those two problems have in common? Vale?
When extension is decreasing, intention is increasing.
And vice versa. So really, those two problems are asking you to do the exact same thing. Because decreasing extension is the same thing as increasing intention. They're inversely related. So both of those problems should have been organized the same way. You should have started with the broadest category and gotten more specific, okay? Any questions about how to do numbers 8 or 9, intention or extension? Okay. Number 10, it says one method of defining terms is by genus and difference. Name 2 other methods of defining terms, and then define the term house using each method. So please note, you should have written down 3 definitions here. They give you the first type of definition, genus and difference. And a great genus and difference definition for the term house would be something like this: a building made for a family to live in. Again, lots of different definitions. As long as we've got a clearly defined genus of a building made for a family to live in, a clearly defined difference. So here's my goal for tomorrow, is that none of my 49 logic students are going to make me bang my head up against a wall by putting the word genus, something, difference, something, when asked to do a genus and difference definition. A genus and difference definition is an actual type of definition, not asking you to list genuses and differences, okay? So I was like 50% last semester. They just could not get that through their head. I hope for better things for you, and that none of you are going to make me bang my head up against my desk and say, why? I'm sure you won't do that to me. What's another method of defining? Dale? Synonym. So what are some synonyms for house? Sally, give me one. Home. Somebody else give me another one. Anna? Cottage. I would say that that's probably going to be more a type. Can somebody give me a synonym for home? How about residence? If you're feeling real fancy, how about domicile? Okay. Yeah, very fancy. All right. What is the third method of defining, Sam? Example. Okay. Can you give me some examples of a house, Sam?
That is a house.
Yeah.
No. The White House is a house.
Yeah. My house, the White House, Monticello, which is where Thomas Jefferson lived. Yeah, all sorts of, there's so many examples of houses. Yes, Hannah?
If you put just my house, would you have to put like where you live, or would you just put my house?
My house would be fine, because that's an example of the house. My house, your house, his house, her house, their house, that house, this house, house. Yes. Shh, quiet. No, those are rules for defining by genus and difference. That's not a genus and difference definition. That's defining by example. Okay, any other questions about methods of defining? Jackson.
Well, we need to put more than one on the.
I will let you know, but almost yes. I mean, if they ask you to define by example, remember it's not a very good example if you just give one example. You want to list a multitude of examples. All right, for 11 and 12. It's asking you to make to fill out a genus and species chart. They give you one species and say, what genus would this fall under? Sam, can you stop that? Emma is finding that to be very, very interesting. They'll ask, what genus does this fall under? What species would be on the same level? And what would be a species of this one they give you? Yes?
Are you going to draw the thing where like...
I trust that you guys know how to do this now at this point. I won't need to draw the thing. But here's the thing. You can draw the thing.
I did.
Yeah, you can draw it on your paper. That's fine. So yeah, feel free to draw a genus. And even if you're getting stuck on a genus and difference definition, feel free to draw a genus and species chart. It might help you kind of jog your memory. All right, so again, this is one way you could have filled this out. There are many ways. It would look like this. The genus of lock is mechanism. Another species on the same level as lock would be hinge. A type of lock, a species of lock would be padlock. You could put combination lock, like fingerprint lock, key lock. Lots of different locks, okay? Any questions, not about, I put this, is this right, but any questions about how to do this type of problem? Remember not to make it too broad. Don't make the genus so enormous that it's not very helpful. So for example, for number 12, cake, the genus of cake, if you put food, I would mark that as wrong because that's so broad, that's not really helpful. Can someone give me a better, somebody just say one.
Dessert.
Yeah, dessert would be great. They went with baked good, but I would have put dessert, right? But it doesn't matter. If you did baked good, you did dessert, it doesn't matter. Baked good, another species of baked good would be cookie, and then a type of cookie would be wedding cake. Is this a helpful question, David?
I had food, and I thought that's too broad, so I changed it to dessert.
Excellent. Not really a question, but a statement, but well done, sir. Yes. It's okay to double check your answers and think, hey, is this a good answer? Can I improve this answer? David just gave us a great example of that. So baked good, cookie, wedding cake. You could put vanilla cake, strawberry cake, wedding cake, ice cream cake, cookie cake, red velvet cake, whatever you want. Just make sure, guys, make sure it's a cake. Any questions about how to do numbers 11 and 12? You will have to do 2 of those on your test tomorrow, so make sure you are comfortable with doing one of those. All right, number 13, it asks you to list the 6 rules for defining terms by genus and difference. You got to know them in this order, which I've told you that multiple times. Essential attributes, not be circular, don't be too broad, too narrow, don't be unclear or figurative, be stated positively, if possible, and be at the same part of speech as the term. Okay, so that will be massively important. I will tell you, if you absolutely forgot about this test until 10 minutes before and you could only study one thing, study those rules. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that. Study those rules. Know those rules in order. In order. Know that rule number 1 is that, and rule number 2 is that, and rule number 3. Study them in order, memorize them in order. Wilder?
If we didn't really get on this test and say that we're good for this part, or like if we did really get on the practice test, would you say that we're prepared for?
Yes. But remember, there's another part of the test that you didn't practice today, and that's the catechism questions. So make sure you're ready for that too. Yes.
Are the catechism questions going to look like numbers 1 and 2? Like what is logic, and then just actually write what it says in the
Yes, there's going to be questions that are pulled. It's exactly your catechism, Jackson. It's like I just gave you the catechism, but deleted the answer. And I'm just going to ask you, what is logic, or what is reasoning, or what is the law of identity? Or like you're just going to have to know those things from memory. Yes. 20. Yeah, 20 questions. And again, laws of thought, purposes and types of definitions, rules for defining by genus and difference. Know those things like the back of your hand. Number 14 through 17, explain the primary error made by the given genus and difference definition. Primary error. Number 14, clang, a cacophonous tintinnabulation. That is...
Obscure.
Yeah, obscure or unclear. Now, just so we're clear on something, no pun intended, okay? A definition is unclear, okay? First, when it's metaphorical, okay? Or let's redefine this, okay? Unclear can be vague, ambiguous, or unclear. Sorry, obscure. So for number 14, if you wrote vague, would that be right? No. If you wrote ambiguous, would that be right?
No.
Nope. If you wrote obscure, would that be right?
Yeah.
If you wrote unclear, would that be right? Yes. Okay. So unclear would be an acceptable answer because that it broke rule number 4. It is unclear. An even better answer would be obscure. Okay. So these 3 down here are not interchangeable. They are 3 different things with 3 different meanings. But unclear is a fine answer for that. Okay. So you can write unclear or you can write obscure. They're both right. If you wrote vague or ambiguous, it would be wrong. Yes. Well, that's not figurative. That's just unclear. No, so it can be unclear or figurative. If I was thinking of if I was thinking of rule number 4 violations, if that was my genus, it could be unclear or it could be metaphorical. And then under unclear, I would have all these. Okay. Yeah. All right, number 15. Bed, anything used as a bed, that is
Circular.
Yeah. Truck, an automobile that is not a car. Negative. Victory, to defeat the opposition. Yeah, wrong part of speech. Okay, 18 through 20, it asks for a given, define the given term by genus and difference. Do not break any of the rules, 3 points each. So stranger, what's the genus of stranger? A person. What makes a stranger different than other persons, Hannah?
Unknown, so a person's unknown.
A person who's unknown to you, a person who's unfamiliar to you, a person one does not know. How come that doesn't break rule number 5?
Because you can't state it positive.
Yeah, it's almost that I can't even think of a way to state stranger with a positive definition, right? The definition of stranger is that you don't know them or you lack familiarity. So some have to be negative. Yes.
You could make it positive by saying a person you could possibly end up being friends with.
Yeah, but that could be someone that you know that you just aren't friends with yet. So your definition is too broad. Okay, so a person one does not know. Number 19, coin. So let's think about this. Do coins have to be round? No. So if you said round money or square money, that would not be a good genus and difference definition because that's not an essential attribute. Coin, what's our essential attributes? What's the genus? It's money, and then it's metal. Okay? I'm sure someone somewhere made a wooden coin, but for the most part, when we think coins, we think metal, right? They're bronze, they're copper, they're gold, they're silver, they're nickel, they're whatever, right? But we are talking about metal money. So a piece of stamped metal money, you could just say metal money. If you put metal money, that's your genus is money, your difference is metal. That works for me, okay?
Stamped metal money?
Yes. Like that, yeah. It's not just a lump of gold. It's got usually like, Caesar's face on it or George Washington's head on it. Right? There's something stamped on it. Number 20, to reason, to draw conclusions from other information. Okay, so make sure you match parts of speech. All right, don't start jumping up and down and doing jumping jacks just yet. Got about 10 minutes, and very, 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 very quickly, I want to run over your quiz. I'm going to give this back to you.
Oh, please.
I graded yours, Sally, but I didn't print it, so no, I don't have one to give you. What's that? Oh. Who did I give?
Nobody knows.
All right, we're going to go over this. So listen up, listen up, listen up. Listen up. I'm not going to go over the multiple choice section. You can check that for yourself. I am going to go over the textbook section. If you have a question, when I get to the end, ask it. But just let me run through these 12 questions, and then we'll draw questions from you. All right. So 1 through 3 said define the word by synonym. So stone, rock would be fine. To rescue, something like to save. And then lovely. Lovely has to do with appearance. So amazing or awesome or great would not really work. We're looking for something like beautiful or pretty. Number 4, one limitation of defining by synonym. Many words do not have synonyms. Okay. 5 and 6, I asked you to give me 3 examples of each. So football, hockey, gymnastics, so on and so forth. Religion, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, so on and so forth. Lots of those. Number 7 said we can define a word by listing example by listing species of it, which is what you did at number 5 and 6. What is another way to define by example? And the answer is by demonstration or by pointing to it. If you said to me, what is a phone? And I said, oh, like an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy, I'm listing species of it. Or if you said, what's a phone? And I said, this is defining by example. I'm pointing to an object that fits that description. Number 8 through 10, primary error given by the given definition. Number 8, yacht, a vehicle used for yacht racing, that is circular. Number 9, to shave, to truncate the prosopic stubble, that is unclear, that is obscure. None of us know what that means. Number 10, sock, garments for the feet other than shoes, that's negative. You just told me what socks aren't. You said they're not shoes, but you didn't tell me what socks are. So that would be negative when it could be positive. Number 11, the key thing we're looking here for, guys, for driveway. Okay, for example, somebody put roads that lead to your house. Guys, if I went to Drake's house today, I would follow roads that led to his house. What we really needed to see was some sense of this. A short road connecting a public road to a house. Okay, we needed some idea of connection between the road itself and your house. Okay, and then number 12, to whisper, to speak softly or quietly. Okay, so Hannah Anderson, you had a question.
We can keep these,
Yes, you can keep those, use them to study if you like. Wilder, you had a question.
For number 3, like, isn't it an adverb?
Lovely? No, it's an adjective. Yeah, it does end in an ly, so that's confusing. But lovely does not describe the way you love. It's describing the appearance of something. Oh, that's lovely. How beautiful. How pretty. Yes.
Also, the rules of having it different types of speech, does that make it wrong because it's a synonym if you're defined by synonym?
You keep those separate in your mind, man. The defining by synonym has nothing to do with defining by genus and difference. So, yeah, the rules for defining by genus and difference do not apply to synonyms or example. Yeah. Any other questions about your quiz? It's specific. Jackson. You put beautifully? Because beautifully is an adverb. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful is an adjective, and so that would be fine. Beautifully is an adverb. Okay. Any other questions? All right, we're done. Come ready to ace this test tomorrow.